Alright, hey everybody, it's Verity Adams, the crazy keto girl, and I'm here with Jason Wittrock.
Hello everybody, good to see you.
It is late and we are at Dave & Buster's right now filming this, so hopefully you can hear us.
We've had an amazing day.
It's been a long day, but it's been so great. There's so many great people here. I'm so glad you put this together.
Keto
and then I could get here.
Yes.
Yes, the keto store. Oh my gosh, here, we'll even get you a quick peek at the keto crew over there still eating their food. But what I wanted to do today with him while we had him here is do a quick like keto for beginners 101 sort of video, because I know I get a lot of questions. I know you get a lot of questions of just like, how do I start? Like, how many carbs can I eat and stay in ketosis?
Yeah.
Like, does it matter if my proteins are at 30% versus 25? Like,
a lot of
tons of questions. And so I just wanted to like sit down with him because he's how I started keto. And I really looked up to him a lot, so I figured I would share that with you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover, but I think the most important thing is when you start this diet, you have to kind of conquer your fear, because, you know, you go your whole life like fearing fat.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden somebody like me is going to tell you you can eat all the fat you want. Mm-hmm. So there's a big mental hurdle to get over that. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow, so to speak, and take that plunge. You know, when I first put butter in my coffee for the first time, I thought I was either going to be the best thing ever or I was going to die the next day. The other thing you have to really understand is to understand how carbohydrates affect your body, and you have to recognize those as the enemy. A lot of people start their weight loss journey out or they go through life thinking they can't do anything because they're focused on calories and eating. And you have to understand that fat accumulation is hormonal, and that you can control that by reducing carbs, which have a negative impact on your blood sugar and insulin. So just understand that the real key is to cut the carbs, and what you're doing is replacing that with fat to allow you to have energy. When it comes to you really have to seek the fat. I think when I first started this diet, I woke up first thing in the morning and I didn't focus on what I couldn't have, meaning I didn't wake up saying, okay, I can't have carbs.
Right.
No bread, no sugar, no bagels, no pasta. And if you think about it, carbs are everywhere. You're surrounded by that food. This whole world is a carb world.
For sure.
So what you have to do is focus on what you can have, which is amazing fatty foods like egg, avocado, coconut oil, butter, green leafy vegetables. So I always wake up in the morning and I say, find the fat. Focus on getting fat. Okay. You know, that's what I think my biggest tip is focus on getting fat. Because if you don't, your energy levels will suffer. You won't really experience full ketosis. Me personally, because I know you're going to ask this question. Listen, everybody does keto differently. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it basic. I focus on what are called macro percentages. If you track your food in MyFitnessPal, you'll notice there's a pie chart.
Yes.
So in that pie chart, that is my guiding star. Okay, I refer to that pie chart throughout the day. I enter all of my food. I don't care about calories. I don't care about macros, like how many grams of everything. I eat when I'm hungry. I stop eating when I'm full. Sometimes that's 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, are you pulling it up?
Yeah, this only has my breakfast in it.
Fine.
But there's my breakfast.
But I always look at this pie chart. Now,
I love this thing. I'm in
so
here
here's
like
what
80
my goal is,
times a day.
and it makes it super easy. So here's what you do.
You can even see it on mine there, the little percentages.
Yep. So here's what it is. My goal at the end of every single day, at the end of every night, I will look at this pie chart and I will say, was I between 70 and 80% fat? Okay. Next question. Was I between 10 and 20% protein? And then finally, I always stay between 5 and 10% carbs, or always less than 50 grams total carbs. Now, let's say, for example, I was over on protein today. I was at 25%. The problem with that is protein spikes insulin. If I'm trying to lose weight, I got to get that protein down. Closer to 15 is my sweet spot. So all I do is the next day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and get some more fat. Focus on the fat, and that'll, you know, I want to keep my protein down a little bit more the next day. If you go over on carbs, it's an opportunity for the next day to be like, I'm gonna eat less nuts maybe, or something like that. Or you come low on fat. Say I'm at 60% fat. The next day I'm gonna say, how can I get more fat to get that up to 70 to 80%? And I feel like if you hit the percentage, understand this, it's the quality of food that matters. If you get the quality of food right, the quantity, meaning how many calories you eat and all that stuff, the body will naturally figure that stuff out. You just have to make sure that you are eating the right types of foods. Now here, let me say this. 70 to 80% fat is good because fat doesn't spike insulin. I can eat butter right now, my blood sugar's not going to go up, insulin's not going to spike.
It's super satiating too.
Yeah, and
You're
it's
not
super
going to be
satiating.
hungry.
So if you're hitting 70 to 80% fat, your appetite's going to go down. You're not going to secrete insulin, so you won't store fat. And I keep it between 10 and 20% protein because protein does spike insulin. So you've got to keep that down. Same, obviously, with the carbohydrates.
I think the other thing for me too that people really, first of all, like the best way to start keto is just to start. Like you don't need to do anything crazy. You do not need to fast first. You do not need to wean yourself off. I mean, you can
Focus
if you
on the
want,
basics.
but like if you just go in, just go all in and do it, like the first week will be brutal. Like I'm not even gonna lie for the new people.
Yeah, here's
like,
why, because carbs are like drugs, and you can pretty much consider yourself a drug addict on carbs right now. I was, she was, and basically you're checking your ass into rehab. It might take a week, it might take 2 weeks, but it really is like going to rehab. But you have to stay strong, you have to stay committed, you have to focus on the fat, forget about the carbs and the sugar.
There's a point, and I think everybody gets to it where they start feeling that hangry, where they get really like they want to eat everything, and
withdrawal.
they're really angry. And I've told a lot of people, I'm like, once you get to that feeling, you should feel really good because that means you're like this close.
Yeah,
because
you're there.
all your carbs are gone, but you haven't switched to fat yet.
It's the body fighting you back. The body's like, yo, give us our drugs back, give us our carbs back. But instead, you're saying no, but you're giving it something that it does want, which is fat. That's why I say if you don't get enough fat, then the body's confused. It's like, yo, you're not giving me my drugs, my carbs, but you're also not giving me enough fat. What the hell's going on here?
Totally.
So, but it will pass, I promise you. Just stay strong, and all of a sudden you'll wake up one morning and bang, you'll have more energy than you've ever had before. You'll be rocking and rolling, and you'll tell all your friends about it. They'll think you're crazy.
They do.
And you'll be
Until you're going to kill yourself.
And then it's all about making it work for yourself for the long term. It's very easy. When I first started keto 2.5 years ago, nobody was on YouTube talking about it, and I had the pleasure of just focusing on these things.
Right.
It's very easy to get caught up in so much information. I've talked, and you have to end up doing what's best for you, focus on the fundamentals, and then do what's best for you as you go along, because it has to be a lifestyle, it has to be a sustainable thing, and that's different things for different people.
And I'd also say that like it's really important that people be patient with the journey, because
I agree.
Keto is definitely like a science experiment with your body. Like, like you can do 50 net, like under 50 net carbs a day.
Yeah, what about you?
I'm a total carb counter. I cannot do net carbs.
Me either.
And I cannot go over 20.
20 total.
20
yeah,
total
so that's
carbs.
cool. So here's why. She's insulin resistant. I'm insulin sensitive, all right? So insulin resistance means she cannot get away with eating carbohydrates. Just a small amount of carbohydrates makes her body, her pancreas secrete a ton of insulin, whereas I could eat the same amount of carbs and have no problem whatsoever. My pancreas won't secrete hardly any insulin at all.
Right, so for me a typical day is like probably 10 to 15 grams of carbs, honestly.
Yeah, I can get away with eating 40, 50 and no problem.
Right.
But that's what you have to find that's part of like figuring it out as you go along.
Totally. Because you find that sweet spot of like, this is like where I really like thrive with fats and protein. Because usually my fats are around 150 to 200, depending on hunger, and then like 60 to 90 protein.
But usually between 70 and 80%, usually you think?
Yeah, I'm usually with my fats, it's like 75% plus.
Yeah,
and then 10 to 20% protein, and then under 5 on carbs.
Just to give you guys an idea real quick, so therapeutically, they use this diet therapeutically to cure cancer, diabetes, all that stuff. And when they put patients on this diet, they give them 90%.
That's a lot of fat.
The diet started by helping out kids with seizures.
Yeah, it was like epilepsy.
And they put them on their ratio, like I showed you, their pie chart shows 90% fat, 7% protein, and 3% carbs. So they really keep the protein down.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Just
also
to give you an idea.
Well, and so it started out with seizures, and it's also been used for like PCOS, diabetes, like cancer, Parkinson's, all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. All the different things keto can really help with. Keto flu is avoidable. Not everybody gets it. I've actually never had keto flu.
Yeah.
It's electrolyte imbalance. And for me, my miracle go-to cure, I call it bulletproof broth. I take chicken broth and I put a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of MCT oil.
Nice.
And I just blend that up.
So you're
Sometimes
getting
I'll
the
add
electrolytes plus the fat.
Right, and then sometimes I'll add garlic salt just to like, and it's delicious. I just hit it with my milk frother and it's so good. And like, if I start feeling that headache, I just pound one of those and it's gone in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then magnesium and potassium, I always suggest people try to get it from food, so like your avocados and your broccoli.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are really big fans of like the Powerade Zero, but I don't really feel like you get anything out of that.
Not a fan.
Food, like if you salt an avocado, because that's got your magnesium, potassium, and then your sodium too.
Yep, the big three. Sodium, salt your food, eat salty snacks, drink chicken broth, right? I think sodium's one of the most critical, the one you'll notice the most. If you start getting tired, headache, lethargic, dizzy, that's low sodium. And it's amazing how many people don't know about that, and so that happens, those symptoms come on, and they blame the diet.
Right.
When all they really had to do was go drink some chicken broth and increase the sodium level. The other big one is potassium, eat avocados, green leafy vegetables, and then finally, like she said, magnesium. You can also get magnesium from food, but I personally take a magnesium supplement.
I do have a supplement.
Yeah, and those are three. If you get those three, you don't have to track everything about the sodium. Just be conscious of it. Just be conscious of it, especially the sodium. That's another thing, another fear you have to get over is the sodium aspect.
A lot of people are afraid they're going to get like high blood pressure and...
Yeah. So, but not, keto's a whole different world. But yeah, I think those are good beginner tips, and I think you should start off with those things, and then the rest of that will get you through to where you're getting results, and then it's all about making it work for yourself.
Okay, so there you go. So we're going to focus on getting all of our electrolytes, which is sodium, magnesium, and potassium. We want to make sure that we are getting that nice macro ratio that we talked about. Find the fat.
Find the fat.
Find the fat. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right.
My pleasure.